Well, happy Sunday, and welcome to Dave's After Hours Trivia Club Live. Step inside the lounge, grab your drink of choice, and settle in. Here at Dave's After Dark, we stir up memories, test your smarts, and maybe, just maybe, teach you something new along the way. Now, we do go live most Sundays, and even usually on Wednesdays, at 7 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Pacific time. Now, when the doors swing open and the lights go down low, this is when the trivia starts to flow. While our robots quickly paint pictures, I serve up the clues, and you will pick your best guesses as we move through tonight's deep dive into popular culture with our 3 trivia categories. Now, first we're going to do the top 20 pop culture events from the 1950s, back in time. Then we're going to visit the top 20 cultural events from the 1960s. And then finally, we will do the top 20 pop culture events from the 1970s. Should be a lot of fun tonight. Now, this isn't just a trivia show. It's a fast-paced gauntlet of art, memory, now let's see how many you can get before the brush finishes its final stroke. Now I wanted to quickly mention our sponsor, DaveHansonArt.com, and that just happens to be me. And anyway, I have a website where you can see all this cool cover art in addition to other modern art that I've done over the years. And that's all available as wall art and other merchandise for your enjoyment. Check that out some. Now, be sure to check in down in the chat. Say hello. This is where you'll be throwing out your guesses or just hanging with the rest of the crew. I see we got a couple of early birds in here. I see Sandra's in the house. Serena's in the house. Hopefully we'll get some of our other friends in before long. Now, tonight we have a little different spin than usual because we're not asking as much for individual names or that sort of thing. We're going for the most impactful events in popular culture. So when you're answering, kind of think of like the rise of, the emergence of, the debut of, the launch, opening of, first time something happened, that kind of thing. Anyway, maybe that'll help a little bit. All right, let's fire up the robots and cue our first round. Let me get over here and fire it up for us. Now, you know the rules. The robots do the painting, you do the guessing, and I do give a few clues along the way. Now, again, as we've discussed, we're doing the pop culture events from the 1950s. So think events, and I'll coach you along the way. All right, here we go with number 20. You didn't need to leave your car to catch the latest flick. Just roll in and tune in your radio. These venues became iconic teen date spots and hangouts under the stars. By the mid-1950s, over 4,000 of them dotted the American landscape. I didn't know there were 4,000. They fused automobiles, movies, and youth culture like no trend before them. Yes, all right. So in the 1950s, we had the blank of drive-in theaters. Meadows got it. The rise of drive-in theaters is the full answer we're looking for. There you go. Nothing says mid-century Americana like a speaker box on your window and popcorn in your lap. Now, drive-ins even had their own church services, and they even had baby cry rooms. Now, that sounds like later drive-ins. That doesn't sound like the ones back in the 50s and 60s. Outdoor theaters. That sounds very official, Sam. That's what they have nowadays, right? You can go to the city park and catch movies. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we used to go to the drive-in. One of my favorite places for sure. All right, number 19. Now, it started as a quirky comic, and then it grew into a cultural satire juggernaut. This mag mocked politics, ads, movies, and basically everything mainstream. This magazine's gap-toothed mascot became a snarky icon. All right, Nadu, you've got what we're looking for. And during the 1950s, we had the first issue of Mad Magazine. And who was this character? Does anybody remember this character's name? It was co-created by Harvey Kurtzman and William Gaines. If your humor skews goofy, edgy, and irreverent, you owe it to this publication. These were the first guys. Anybody remember the character's name? It was pretty iconic. I think you'll kick yourself when I tell you. Mad Magazine was once blamed for destroying morality, which was high praise from angry grown-ups. Yes, the square people. This is Alfred? Doesn't ring a bell yet? Alfred E. Newman. Alfred E. Newman. Mad Magazine. There you go. You got it. All right. Now, this next one's kind of interesting. Now, they wore berets. They snapped their fingers at poetry and said man a lot, like I do. This is my roots. Rooted in jazz and existential angst, they were the cool rebels before the hippies. Yeah. So you got it, Sandra. But what were those people called? Yes, it was. I like your formal answers. The Beat Generation. That's very good. Jack Kerouac and Allen Ginsberg became their literary patron saints. Coffee houses and smoky bars became their cathedrals. If you've ever used the phrase dig it, yeah, which I do, you're echoing their vibe. Dig it. What were they called, though? It was the Beat Generation, but the people were called something. They were called some sort of creatures. Hipsters. I like it, Manu. But that's incorrect. Before hipsters. These were beatniks. Beatniks. Yeah. The term beatnik was coined as a Cold War jab, linking the Beats to Sputnik and suspicion. Oh, the CIA named them. Great. Okay. Next up, number 17. Here we go. I'm getting behind. This wasn't just kids programming. It was a launch pad for young talent. You know the theme. MIC KEY. It brought a smiling parade of musketeers into living rooms nationwide. Now, who were these guys? What was this? What was this called? They built a junior empire with this show's loyal fan base. So this was a TV show. So I'm looking for the debut of a certain TV show. Anybody remember? I guess we're going back a bit. I remember. Yeah. The show's fan club cards and daily roll calls were precursors to the modern fandoms and followings. And this was, of course, the Mickey Mouse Club. The Mickey Mouse Club. And I was going to ask you, do you remember one of the main first stars, Annette Funicello? Annette Funicello. Annette Funicello. Okay. Let's move on. Number 16. Got a little slow internet right now, but we'll work through it. Number 16. A restless cross-country novel that preached freedom, jazz, and wanderlust. It was typed in a 3-week burst on a 120-foot scroll of paper. He typed on a scroll. The book became a road trip Bible for rebellious youth. Critics were divided. Some called it poetry, others called it nonsense. Okay, well, I'm not seeing answers come in, but that's probably just an internet thing. So you guys are probably getting this. Yeah, Madhu's got it. Here you go. And what's the gentleman's name who wrote this wonderful book? I enjoyed it. So, it's a quick read. It's a quick read. The scroll is now housed in a climate-controlled glass case. Pretty famous book. And it was typed on a scroll. On the road by Jack Kerouac, of course. Jack Kerouac. There you go. There he is. Jack. All right, let's see you get this one. Now I'm looking for a thing this time, okay? A thing. If you were a kid in the mid-50s, you probably wore one on your head. I have to say, I was early 60s, but I had one. The TV miniseries launched a merchandising avalanche. Actor Fess Parker turned the frontiersman into a household name. Yeah, I think the internet's just slow. I think you had that one, Sandra. I see your answer there. But I just saw it. So hopefully we'll speed up a little bit here. Who knows who this is or what show this was and what the fashion craze was. It made buckskin chic for elementary schoolers. So close, Madhu. Close. Yeah, sorry it's so slow tonight. We got some cloud cover, so that may be the reason. But we will see. Part of the game, unfortunately. I'm still waiting on my new internet. We're hoping for that. Anyway, the answer is a coonskin cap. That's a raccoon. It's a coonskin, and it's Davy Crockett, and the show. I think the show was Davy Crockett. There you go. All right, you're gonna know this one. She debuted in a black and white swimsuit, and she had a sideways glance. She wasn't just a toy. She was a lifestyle with her own dream house. Some parents were scandalized by her adult figure. Now, a lady named Ruth Handler created her after seeing her daughter play with paper dolls. Yeah, okay. Madhu, Sandra, you both got that one. Very good. So, the cultural event is the debut of Barbie. The debut of Barbie. She'd go on to have over 200 different careers. Talk about resume Patty. Who knows Barbie's full name? Does anybody know Barbie's full name? That's a tough one. She is from the fictional town called Willows, Wisconsin. That's where Barbie's supposed to be from. Willows, Wisconsin. Now you do have to watch the little video at the end of this. It's creepy. Anyway, Barbie's full name was Barbara Millicent Roberts. Look, oh, here she goes. She's climbing right out of her box. That's creepy. All right, well, you got that one. All right, number 14. Now, this one's a little different. Number 13, I'm sorry. We're down to number 13. So we're looking for the name of the movie. And ideally, the producer-director. But this sultry drama brought heat and high art to Hollywood. So this really changed Hollywood. And it was Marlon Brando's Stella, which became cinema's primal scream. Did I do that well at all? No. Stella! This was adopted from Tennessee Williams' Pulitzer-winning play. It introduced method acting to a wide audience. The raw performances broke boundaries and censors alike. So this was a real groundbreaking movie in the 50s. It was Tennessee Williams' play, and that's what I'm looking for. And it's Marlon Brando, and that's Marlon Brando with the director-producer who was responsible for putting this together. Brando's tight t-shirts from the film caused a nationwide sales boom. They even became a symbol of masculine rebellion. Yeah. So, the name of the movie was A Streetcar Named Desire, which of course it was a Broadway play, and that guy is Elia Kazan. There you go. Oh, you got it. You had it. All right. Now this picture's a little bit tough. I'll tell you what I'm hiding. I'm hiding a gun. He's pointing a gun at us. And that's what I'm hiding. Okay? And this is the creator of a certain character who then did lots of movies. So I'm looking for the first movie. What was the first movie that started a big movement? He liked his drinks shaken, not stirred. This spy with a license to kill started in literature. That's what we're looking at here. And this guy wrote it from a Jamaican estate called Goldeneye. So he was actually living in Goldeneye. It faced off at a deadly card table. The gadgets and tuxedos came later. This was pure Cold War. So there you go. Very good. Madhu's got it. That's who this is. This is Mr. Ian Fleming. And of course, the thing we're looking for is the first James Bond movie, Casino Royale. Fleming wrote a Bond book every year until his death. He saw only 2 films released in his lifetime. That's interesting. There you go. Now this one's going to be impossible to get from the picture. Just throwing that out there. This is the birth of something. It was loud, rebellious, and made adults nervous. DJs like Alan Freed, that's him here, helped bridge racial lines through music. Black R&B tracks found new life with teenage white audiences. The backbeat became the heartbeat of youth identity. If you've ever cranked a car radio, thank these first pioneers. So, what the cultural event is that the robots had in mind, I'm going to tell you this one, is the birth of rock and roll radio. Yeah, well, rock and roll. You so Meadows got the idea. But this was actually the birth of rock and roll radio, which was the cultural event. All right, well, when you have to explain it too much, it's not that great. This guy was named Freed, and he coined the term rock. He's the one who coined the term rock and roll. There you go. It was rhythm and blues, and he changed it to rock and roll. So there you go. How about that? That's kind of interesting. All right, I think you'll get the next one. This one, the picture is a little closer to the to the cultural event. All right. It promised entertainment for men with more than just articles. Marilyn Monroe was on the very first cover. This gentleman borrowed money from his mother to start this business. Very good, Madhu. And who is that? Who are we looking at there? A young man. It mixed literature, lifestyle, and nudity in glossy pages. Like it or not, it changed how sexuality was sold in America. Yes, very good. Very good. Yes, this is Mr. Hugh Hefner as a young man. Despite its racy reputation, Playboy published major writers like Nabokov, Kerouac, and Vonnegut. Highbrow meets lowbrow. Yeah, I got it. I always got it for the articles. I don't know about you guys. Is that true? Okay. Well, gotta have a reason for everything. He's laughing about it today. Look at that. All right, now this next one, I'm looking for the debut of something. A redhead, a Cuban band leader, and a conveyor belt of chocolate. That is my favorite scene. That's my favorite scene. Lucille Ball was a trailblazer for women in comedy and TV production. The show pioneered the 3-camera setup, which is still in use today. Yeah, very good. It was the debut of the I Love Lucy show in the 1950s. Very good. And do you remember the scene that they're alluding to with the chocolate factory? And her and her best friend have to work on the assembly line of the chocolate. They get behind, so they have to start eating more. The Vitameat Gammon bit is still one of the funniest moments in TV history. I don't know what that is. Ball and Arnaz owned their own studio. It was called Desilu, which later actually produced Star Trek and Mission Impossible. Now, I bet you didn't know that. Maybe you did. Maybe you did. There they are. Oh, look. Very good. All right, well, we're down to number 8. We are doing the top cultural events of the 1950s right now. So here we go. I think you'll know this one. He rose from the sea. He was born of atomic nightmares. Originally a metaphor for nuclear devastation, post Hiroshima. The monster genre was never the same after his roar. Yeah, very good. Kalki's in the house. Badu? Yeah, very good. You got it. Ishiro Honda's vision made men in rubber suits terrifying. This wasn't just campy, it was cathartic cultural commentary. The original Godzilla suit, there was a guy in the suit, I guess, weighed over 200 pounds and was nearly impossible to move in. Well, 200 pounds. It took two people to air it out. You got to watch the little video at the end here. So the answer we're looking for is the premiere of Godzilla in Japan, 1954. There you go. That was quite the cultural event. Oh, there he is. He's on the rampage. Look out. All right. Well, that was pretty exciting. All right, we're down to number 7. So now this one's going to be the one example of the emergence of something. The emergence of something, and this is one example. Is that complicated enough? These clean-cut crooners. Rock and roll became safe and swoony with these faces. These were the safe rock and rollers. TV and 45s turned teens into market forces. Their fans bought records by the millions and screamed doing it. Now, this is not Elvis Presley, although it kind of looks like Elvis a little bit, but this was the clean cut. And this guy had a TV show with his family. How's that? How's that for a clip? Yes, he was already famous before he started singing. He grew up on the adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, one of TV's earliest sitcoms. Yeah, not Buddy. Not Buddy. He grew up on the show Ozzie and Harriet. There you go, Sandra. Very good. And can you think of anybody else that kind of fit this mold of the clean-cut teenage rocker that they tried to modify the image of rock and roll, because the image was gritty and Elvis and black guys, you know. So Ricky Nelson, and another name would have been Fabian. There you go. All right. Number 6. Now this one we can just get the name of the show. Okay. Romeo and Juliet got a switchblade and a backbeat. It fused classical theater with jazz, Latin rhymes, and ballet. It tackled themes like race, immigration, and gang violence. The Jets and the Sharks danced as much as they fought. So, what is this show? Tonight, America and Maria became musical staples. All big songs from this show. Well, it was a Broadway play, and then it became a movie eventually. But in the 50s, it was a Broadway play. And which one was it? Which one are we talking about here? Romeo and Juliet. Tonight, America, Maria. Only in America. Only in America. The Jets and the Sharks. Watch. So their fight turned into a little dance. West Side Story, of course. West Side Story. There you go. All right, now this is a actor in a movie that I'm looking for. I'm looking for the actor and the name of the movie. What are you rebelling against? Brando's bike. Oh, well, that's a good clue. Brando's biker look defined nonconformity for decades. Oh, his look defined nonconformity. It terrified censors and thrilled every teenage rebel. The film was based on a real biker gang in Hollister, California. Well, so that's interesting, isn't it? Because wasn't there a later TV show that was basically it was in a town, a fictional town called Charming, California. It's not on the waterfront. This one was not on the waterfront. This was a different one. This was Brando as the rebel biker. Brando reportedly hated motorcycles, and he dropped his Harley multiple times on the set. That's not good. Anybody else have a guess at the movie? This is the first teenage rebel in a movie. It's called The Wild One. The Wild One. Google that. There you go. On the Waterfront was a good guess. All right, number 4. Cultural events of the 1950s. I bet you get this one. Now, this is the opening of something. This gentleman turned orange groves into a magical kingdom. It wasn't just rides, it was immersive storytelling. It is the happiest place on earth. Day one crowds were so huge, the drinking fountains ran dry. Oh no, oh no. Every land, from Tomorrowland to Fantasyland, was a cinematic world. Well, so Madhu, that is not quite correct. We're talking about the 50s. So the year is 1955. There you go, Stan. This is the original. The original Disneyland, of course, the opening of Disneyland is the correct answer. And ABC funded Disneyland in exchange for a weekly Disney TV show. Oh, that's right. So they donated a lot of money, or invested a lot of money in Disneyland because they got that TV show, right? Cross promotion before it was cool. That was one of the first cross promotion deals, was the Wide World of Disney on ABC and the opening of Disneyland simultaneously. There you go. All right, top 3. You guys ready for the top 3 cultural events of the 1950s? I think that we all know this one. We're looking for someone who becomes a global icon. She blended vulnerability with glamour like no one before. Her image was everywhere, magazines, movies, and murals. Films like The 7-Year Itch turned her into a fantasy figure. She was more than a sex symbol, she was a symbol of contradictions. Yeah, of course, Madhu. Yes. And this is the famous scene, the subway scene, right? The subway great moment is forever etched in pop culture. So there it is. So what we're really looking for is the subway scene when Marilyn Monroe first becomes a global icon. There's the full answer. That's hard to get, right? Despite her dumb blonde roles, Monroe founded her own production company. And she fought for better scripts. I don't know if you knew that. She had her own production company. And it is the subway great moment that etched her as a global icon. All right, I can't imagine what the video will be. Oh, well, okay. Wasn't that bad. Could have been different. All right, now you know this one. We're looking for his national breakthrough. This gentleman. He swiveled his hips and he sent parents into picnic mode. A blend of gospel, country, and R&B that shook up the charts. His Ed Sullivan appearance drew over 60 million viewers. He was the faith and the pelvis of Teenage Rebellion. Oh, yeah. Now, who knows where he got his start? Anybody know the location where Elvis Presley got his start? That's where Graceland is. His recordings at the Sun Studio in Memphis helped define the rockabilly sound. Love that rockabilly, and put the South on the musical map. So kind of started with a lot of rockabilly, right? And then he kind of went into more ballads and that sort of thing. So wonder what the video will show us. Yeah, exactly, Matty. Memphis, Tennessee, home of Graceland. I think that's still around, isn't it? Graceland, it's still like a tourist attraction, I think. I don't think anybody's closed that up yet. Not sure. There he is. Elvis Presley's national breakthrough, 1956, is a cultural icon. There he is. All right, number one. So, what do you think was the number one cultural development of the 1950s? Well, it was a little box that changed the world one channel at a time, and literally one channel. By the end of the decade, it was in nearly 90% of U.S. homes. By 1960, it was in 90% of U.S. homes. It made stars, it sold product, and it brought the world into your living room. Sandra, very good. Donkey, I like your answer. Doctor Who, of course. The rise of television as a dominant medium. How's that for a complete answer? TV dinners and living room sofas were redesigned around it. Yes, they were. So these people need TV trays, right? Everybody needs their TV trays. Who had TV trays? Who had TV trays way back in the day? The 1950s weren't just televised. They were defined by television. Early TV shows had live commercials. Did you know that? Which was awkward for flubs and all that stuff, but watching the flubs was kind of part of the show. All right. Well, so you got the idea of these cultural icon things, right? So we're going to do two more rounds later on. Let's do a quick intermission. Let's look at a lightning round of the top 20 stars of Hollywood's golden age. So both men and women. I think they go one after the other. I think women first and then the men. Anyway, you got 2 minutes. Let's see how many you can get. I bet you do a lot better at these. And I will start this one up. Alrighty. No, you guys did pretty good. Between the team, you got most of this. Put the team together, we got most of them. Okay, so we're gonna try another round of these. These are a little more straightforward. Pop cultural events now of the 1960s. So let's give it a try. Now, y'all know the rules. The robots do the painting, you do the guessing, and I try to confuse the heck out of you with a few clues along the way. And again, our category is top 20 pop cultural events of the 1960s. I think you'll get most of these. Here we go. Number 20. Now, this one started with four mop-top lads stepping off a plane in New York. Soon, U.S. charts were packed with bands from across the pond. Their accents were charming, their guitars electrifying. The Beatles led the charge, but the Stones, the Kinks, and the Who all followed fast. So no, we're not looking for the Beatles, we're looking for the cultural event. It started with the Beatles, the Stones, the Kinks, and the Who. What's it called? No, not the Monkees. I'm not looking for a band. I'm looking for a cultural event. And it's symbolized well by this photo. Symbolized well. The Beatles' first Ed Sullivan performance pulled in 73 million viewers. Pop music. Well, good try, Cal. Good try. Rock bands. Good try. The cultural event that we're looking for is called the British Invasion. The British Invasion. I think that one's fair. That was a fair one. Yeah, very good, Betty. You had it. You got it. Very good. All right. Next up. Now, this one I'm just looking for a TV show. When it premieres. It had Pow, Zap, and the campiest tights in television. Adam West's straight-laced character became a pop art legend. Its villains were theatrical, its colors were loud, and its tone delightfully absurd. The show embraced comic book absurdity with glee. Yeah, so it was you've got it. It's the premiere of the Batman TV series, which that happened in 1966, in case you're interested. Holy Ratings Batman. It was a hit with kids and adults. I remember I used to watch it. Did you watch this? I watched it. The show's psychedelic style influenced Andy Warhol. Art imitating TV, and inspired one of the first TV-based merchandising explosions. Yeah, the costumes were something, huh? Yeah, the original Batman. So that was a cultural event. You get the feel for this? I don't know. That might confuse you. Well, let's see you get this one. Now, this is the first of something. The first of something. At the time, it wasn't even called the... It featured the Green Bay Packers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Tickets cost just $12, if you can imagine what the tickets cost today. And it still didn't sell out completely. It aired on 2 different networks, CBS and NBC. Today, it's a global spectacle, but it all started here. Yeah, okay, you guys know. Yes. Who's in the picture? Who can tell me who's in the picture? And what else can we do? I told you it was Green Bay Packers and Kansas City Chiefs. Green Bay won the game. The trophy was later named after the guy in the picture, who was the legendary coach of the Packers. Anybody know? Who's the coach? Yeah, very good, Mindy. Vince Lombardi. So, big cultural event, and I think it's held up over time. The first Super Bowl was played in 1967. There he is. He's happy. All right. All right. Cultural event. Now, this is somebody who became the face of fashion. She had a pixie haircut and oversized lashes. And she only had a 31-inch bust line. No Sydney Sweeney here. No good jeans. London Scene crowned her as its teen queen. Very good, Sandra. Twiggy making her second appearance in a row on Dave's After Dark. Who'd have thunk? Who'd have thunk? She was in our Supermodel program, obviously, and now she is actually a cultural icon of the 1960s. She's big time. Fashion never looked so futuristic. You're correct, Twiggy. Twiggy was just 16 when she became an international cover girl. Proof the 60s loved to shake things up fast. Can you imagine she was only 16? A lot of those models are very young, right, when they start. I think they've started to get away from that, right? Because they're getting in too much trouble. The drug addicts, by the time they're 17, it's not good. It's not a good thing. There she is, Twiggy. All right. So, cultural event. Most impactful cultural event. We're looking for a person's breakthrough. This person's breakthrough. She sang with unmatched power and looked nothing like a Hollywood mold. From funny girl to Grammy sweep, she dazzled. TV specials and Broadway sold out with her name. Critics praised her pipes, but fans adored her chutzpah. Am I saying that right? Chutzpah. She made vulnerability a superpower. Yeah, Sandra, you got it. Very good. She made vulnerability a superpower. Streisand's 1968 Oscar was tied with Katharine Hepburn. Oh, she tied. She tied for her Oscar. That's weird. Did you know that? She tied with Katharine Hepburn, one of the Academy's rare ties. Oh, politics. There she is. Barbara Streisand. Definitely a cultural phenomenon from the 1960s. There she is. Babs. All right. Well, that takes us down to number 15. Sticking with music. Now, they traded suits for psychedelic uniforms. So we're looking for an album. This album was so culturally impactful that it made our list. Studio wizardry, surreal lyrics, and sitars. Sitars. Was that saying that right? Sitars. The cover art had more icons than a history book. It is still hailed as one of the greatest albums ever made. No, it's not Yellow Submarine, although was Yellow Submarine on the album, perhaps? Perhaps. I don't think so, though. I think Yellow Submarine was earlier. Yellow Submarine was a single, I know. There you go, Sandra. That's what we're looking for. Greatest. I never knew that people thought it was one of the greatest albums ever made. It was the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's. Do you have the full answer? Sgt. Pepper's. Sgt. Pepper spent 27 weeks as number one in the UK, longer than most bands' entire careers. It is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. The full answer. Yeah, very good, Sandra. You had it. I can see you had it. All right, number 14. All right, so we're looking for the rise of a culture and a band. How about that? Rise of a culture and a band. Is that hard? Sun, sand, falsetto harmonies. Surfboard weren't just gear. The band sang of cars, waves, and summer romance. The music made California seem like paradise. You didn't have to do something, you just had to wish you could. All right, so you got the band, and it's the rise of a certain culture and the Beach Boys. The rise of, it really was. I mean, it definitely came from nowhere. None of the original Beach Boys were hardcore surfers, though Dennis Wilson was the only one who actually had surfed. So the rise of surf culture is what I was looking for. The rise of surf culture and the Beach Boys. There they are. Yes, very good. All right. You know, it's a tough category. All right. So now on this one, I'm looking for an artist and a movement. An artist and a movement. Soup cans became art. This guy turned everyday icons into gallery gold. His factory studio was part art den, part celebrity circus. 15 minutes of fame became his motto. Okay, we've got the artist. So it's Andy Warhol and the blank movement. I think you can get this one. Andy Warhol and the pop art. There you go. Ma'am? You're correct, ma'am. Andy Warhol and the pop art movement. 1960s. Definitely a 1960s cultural icon. Pop cultural icon. The ultimate pop culture. Almost defining pop culture. Warhol's original Campbell soup paintings sold for over $100 a piece. Guess how much they go for today? He sold those for $100 each. Today they go for millions. Yeah. That's kind of the definition of pop culture. And it's right in the middle of our game. That was number 11. Or number 13, I'm sorry. Now we're down to number 12. And I'm looking for a certain movie that ushers in New Hollywood. This movie ushered in New Hollywood. Bank robbers with style. The violence was shocking, but so was the fashion. It helped end the reign of the Hays Code censorship. There you go. That was the movie, and it ushered in New Hollywood. It was thought of as like a turning point for Hollywood movies, which is cool. Kind of getting away from really a lockstep thing with this Hays Code censorship. And who were the two stars? Big names became bigger stars even after this. It was an art film disguised as a gangster flick. If you haven't seen it, it's really good. Its a mix of slow motion, death, and French New Wave style made it a blueprint for 1970s cinema. There you go, yeah. And ma'am, Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway. There you go, there they are. Looking good. Ushering in New Hollywood. Definitely a cultural touch point. Cultural touch point. All right, next up is number 11. Now, this is a premiere of a TV show. To boldly go where no man has gone before. It actually flopped in ratings, but it later flourished in syndication. Its diverse cast and inclusive themes were decades ahead of their time. Yes, of course. Everybody knows. We're talking about the premiere of Star Trek. That's interesting that it was a complete flop originally, right? By ratings. It wasn't just sci-fi, it was social commentary in space. And here's a little known fact. The first interracial kiss on American TV. Captain Kirk and Lieutenant Uhura in 1968. What are they doing kissing? I don't remember that. You guys remember that? Maybe you do. Anyway, the premiere of Star Trek was definitely a cultural touchstone. Yeah, there you go. We are doing the top 20 most impactful cultural events of the 1960s. And we're down to number 10. We're doing the top 10 now. Here we go. Now, this is a certain gentleman and a certain thing he did. A sea of people gathered in Washington, D.C., but millions more watched on television. It was televised. This speech electrified the civil rights movement. It turned a powerful moment into a lasting symbol. His words were poetry, prophecy, and a political punch all at the same time. So, yes, it's Martin Luther King Jr., and it's not the Million Man March. No, that's something different. That's something different. That was Louis Farrakhan like 20 years later. 20, 30 years later. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am. Only the facts, ma'am. Only the facts. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, which was televised. And this was all the way back in 1963. The networks didn't initially plan wall-to-wall coverage, but the public demand made it unavoidable, and it sold a lot of toasters and stuff. There you go. There you go. All right. Well, that's number 9. Now, I want the artist, but I want the special thing he did at this concert. Okay, artist, and then something special that he did at this concert. The folk purists were horrified. He traded drums for snarling guitar riffs. His lyrics stayed sharp, but the volume went up. Like a Rolling Stone became a generational anthem. All right, so we know who it is. We know who it is. This is Mr. Bob Dylan. And what did he do at this particular concert? Yeah, Sandra. So yes, Bob Dylan goes electric at, anybody remember the concert? It was pretty well known. Dylan's electric set was just 3 songs long. So he only plugged in for 3 songs. Short, loud, and legendary. And it was the Newport Music Festival. Bob Dylan goes electric at the Newport Music Festival. 1965. A cultural change. Most impactful cultural event. There you go. There he is. Going electric. And he's got fireworks too. So there's that. All right, now this is a thing. This is a description of something. It's a feeling. It's a culture. It's a culture. Over 100,000 young people flooded San Francisco. They came for peace, love, and maybe a little LSD. Music was the glue, with Hendrix, Joplin, and Jefferson Airplane on stage. Okay, so it was the hippies, but I'm looking for what this cultural phenomenon was called. Haight-Ashbury is great. That's a location. That's where part of this cultural phenomenon happened. Haight-Ashbury became the epicenter of counterculture. It was beautiful, chaotic, and totally unsustainable. The whole thing was partly sparked by human being. Think rave meets philosophy seminar. So this whole thing was called in San Francisco, where all the hippies came together. They listened to music, peace, love, drop some acid. Ma'am for the team. It is our children's good too, Sandra. But it is the summer of love. You are correct, man. All right. Now this one's gonna be hard. So this is something that undergoes a change. A change. Forget the biff, bam. The shadows were coming. Creators started exploring somebody's psychological side. The Joker got scarier and Gotham got grimmer. This is a pivot, paved the way for later on the Dark Knight as we know him today. So what happened? What change happened? It was noir with a cape. Yeah, so what the robots are telling me, I'm gonna go ahead and give you this one. The robots are telling me they were looking for the Batman comics undergo a dark turn. So this is like a cultural phenomenon. It's somewhat true, right? Eddie O'Neill and Neil Adams led the charge, turning Batman into a brooding detective again. So, really going back to its roots, the original Batman comics, right? There you go. There they are. That's kind of a weird one. Robots, it's robots. Robots, what do you got to do? Gotta let the robots do their thing once in a while. So, we'll give it to them. All right, number 6. You don't know this one. This is a huge event in the 60s, and it was a cultural phenomenon. Definitely was. One small step for man became TV's biggest moment. Over 600 million people tuned in worldwide. It was live, it was grainy, and it was utterly breathtaking. All right, so I have a secondary question after this. Yes, this is the moon landing and the broadcast for the moon landing. It was something, right? It was a cultural phenomenon, for sure. Now, is there anybody in the room that doesn't think it really happened? Was it just on a TV set? Was Kurt Vonnegut involved? The moon landing helped spark a space-age design boom. Everything from cars to toasters looked more astro by the 1970s. So that's the cultural change, right? Is everybody got into the space thing and then they could sell lots of Tang. Did anybody drink Tang? Anybody used to drink Tang? Does anybody know what Tang is? That's not that dirty thing you're thinking of. Not that. It's like an orange powder drink. Like, yeah, like powdered orange juice, kind of. Only not as healthy. More sugar. All right. So, tons of Tang, yeah. So, this is a person. It's a singer. And she kind of takes over the whole world of a certain kind of music. She made Otis Redding's Respect her own song. Gospel roots met powerhouse vocals. Her voice could shatter glass or break hearts. She wasn't just a singer, she was a movement. She spelled out what a generation demanded. Yeah, very good. You guys knew that one. It's not Janis Joplin. I love Janis. Ma'am and Madam. Yeah, and Doctor. You are all correct. Hey, Doctor, I forgot to say hi. Good to see you. As you know, it's always good to have a doctor in the house. The backing vocals on Respect were sung by her sisters, Irma and Caroline. Girl power and harmony. Aretha Franklin becomes the Queen of Soul in 1967. There you go. That's the cultural event we are looking for. Respect. Yeah, ma'am's on fire. All right, we're down to the top 4. Down to the top 4 of the 1960s now. We are doing the 60s still. Now this one, it's a little bit similar to another one we had, but we want to do something different. We want to do the rise of something and the movement. The rise and the movement. Tie-dyes, sit-ins, and peace signs took over campuses. LSD met Eastern mysticism in a cosmic mashup. The establishment was out. The age of Aquarius was in. It wasn't all flowers. There was deep resistance and unrest. They didn't just rebel, they reimagined society. So, yeah, this is the other way to describe. Okay, so, like, the Summer of Love was one event, or Woodstock was one event within this rise of Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I don't know what the robots are looking for. The rise of counterculture and the hippie movement. There you go, 1960. Who was the main proponent of taking LSD? Anybody remember that? Turn on, tune in, drop out. What he used to say. It became a mantra, though he later regretted a certain part. Anybody remember who used to say that? Tune in, turn on, tune in, drop out. Yeah, Sandra, very good. Timothy Leary is correct. All right. Now this is a certain band's appearance on a certain show. You should be able to get it just from that. 3 songs, 4 boys, 70 million viewers. It wasn't just music, it was a cultural shockwave. America screamed and never quite stopped. Yeah. I think you got the whole answer there for us, man. Just the facts, man. Even Ed looked a bit dazed by the hysteria. Haircuts changed, So did everything else. CBS's switchboard was overwhelmed the next morning with calls asking when they'd be back. How about that? And of course, by now, we all know this is the Beatles' appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show. Anybody remember what year it was? Anybody remember? And it was interesting. The CBS switchboard was overwhelmed, not with complaints, but with questions of when they'd be on again. Yeah. Juan, Pablo, Jorge, and Ringo. Close enough. 64. Close enough. Of course, you may be right and the robots may be wrong tonight. Who knows? All right, this is a music festival that we all know. And remember, we're talking about 1960s, although this was right at the end of the 1960s. Peace, love, and mud. 500,000 people showed up. Uninvited, but undeterred. Jimi Hendrix closed with a searing Star-Spangled Banner. Yes, of course. Sandra, ma'am. Sandra, you beat ma'am. Food ran out, rain poured down, but the music never stopped. It was the 60s distilled into 3 wild days. Organizers only expected 50,000 people. Oops, it became a free concert by default. So, we've talked about before the documentary. It's not really it's almost like a feature movie on the Woodstock. If you haven't seen it, it's awesome. It's for great music, and it gets the whole vibe of the whole thing, and you almost feel like you're there in the mud with them. The documentary is that good. If you haven't seen it. Woodstock Festival is of course correct, and the year was 1969. And it was on that guy's farm, yeah. That was weird. Made a mess of it. All right, what was the number one most impactful cultural thing that happened in the 1960s? Who knows? The decade's brightest hopes were dimmed one by one. Each killing was broadcast, replayed, and etched into memory. TV became both witness and mourner. The dreamers of progress met bullets instead of ballots. Shock turned into protest, music, and a cultural reckoning. Yeah. So, do we remember all the four assassinations we're looking at here? Yeah. These were big cultural events for sure, and they all kind of tie together. These tragedies didn't just end lives; they fueled art, lyrics, and movements for decades to come. So they definitely qualify as our number one most impactful cultural event of the 1960s. Yeah, and it is the assassination of JFK, of course, Martin Luther King Jr., RFK, and Malcolm X. They all were assassinated. Probably all by the same outfit. If if you're a conspiracy person like me, you know who did. All right. Well, that was the 1960s. That was the most impactful cultural things in the 1960s, and you guys knew almost all those, right? I mean, I think you knew all of them. I don't think we missed one. So, great. Okay, we have a lightning round. We do have a lightning round. We have a quick 20 items, top 10 directors, and then the top 10 films of Hollywood's golden age. So we're going to see how many you can get in just 2 minutes. I'm going to use the little boys' room, and then we'll be back for round three. All righty. Yeah, I'm back. You guys got all those between the team, right? I like Madhu's senile rather than the meal. I like that one. Yeah, all right. Between the team, I think you guys got all that stuff. So very good. You guys ready for round three? Round three. Now remember, it's a little different than usual. We're looking for answers that are more like rise of, emergence of, debut of, cultural events, and I'll try to give you a hint along when we get into it. So let's do round three. What the heck? What the heck? We're this far into it. All right, by now, y'all know the rules. The robots do the painting around here. That means you do the guessing, and I'm the one who gives the clues. Now, once again, this is going to be the top 20 pop culture events in the 1970s. So most impactful cultural events. This first one's going to be the rise of and one special person. Okay, the rise of and one special person. Although I think this picture has two special people. He moved faster than the camera could follow, and sometimes faster than the eye. Enter the Dragon wasn't just a movie, it was a cultural earthquake. His moves were a blend of art, philosophy, and pure muscle. He opened Hollywood's doors for Asian leads. Then he kicked them off the hinges. Yeah, okay. Well, you guys know. So it's like that's the second part of the answer. So it's the rise of and Bruce Lee. Rise of something. Bruce Lee. What am I looking for? What are the robots looking for? You didn't watch Bruce Lee. You tried to keep up with him. Lee trained in fencing and boxing and even taught kung fu to Steve McQueen and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So the robots are looking for the rise of martial arts cinema, right? That's what really changed. Yeah, you had it. Ma'am had it. Or, you kind of had it, Madhu. The rise of martial arts cinema. There you go. And Bruce Lee, of course. And did you watch the little movie? That's pretty cool. All right, this one's interesting. Number 19. This is, I can't give you a clue for this one. This is like changing movies and television by doing something. Think afros, leather coats, and the funkiest soundtracks ever. These films gave Black actors starring roles, guns, grit, and all. They weren't subtle, but they were undeniably stylish. Heroes fought crooked cops and villains with cool one-liners. Isaac Hayes' wah-wah guitar became the genre's calling card. Though often critiqued, so we're looking for a set of films, basically, or something that happened during a set of films. Though often critiqued, these films launched careers and gave birth to a fashion aesthetic. So yeah, how you have it, Madhu. And Doctor has the exact word I was looking for. You guys knew. Very good. It's the Blaxification film era. Yes. Shaft, Superfly. Yeah. Blaxification. You guys knew it. Very good. Black exploitation. Exactly right. Very good. All right. Now, I don't know much about this next one. You tell me. This is the debut of this thing. Grammar, civics, and math set to funk and animation. I'm Just a Bill became more famous than many real senators. Saturday mornings got smarter without losing fun. Kids sang about conjunctions before they knew what they were. Learning never had a better jingle. All right, so yeah, that is the answer. Schoolhouse Rock. Now, did you guys watch this? Because this was like after I was a kid, so I would have been, I don't know, high school and college and not paying any attention to what was going on Saturday mornings. But apparently this was a big thing because it was teaching with music, I guess. Do I say that right? The idea came from an advertising exec who noticed his son could remember rock lyrics, but not multiplication tables. So they started doing teaching with music. Yeah, I don't know what the robots are thinking. It must have been a big deal to the robots. It must be a large language model training. Hot pot. Conjunction junction. What's your function? Love that. Okay, I'm with you now. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. All right, this is when a certain show premieres. Live from New York, it was a brand new kind of sketch show. Belushi, Radner, and Chevy Chase brought raw chaos and wit. It spoofed President, commercial, and itself. Musical guests gave it an edge. Fake news made it a must-see. It became the nation's weekly pop culture check-in. This was the pop culture check-in. So there you go, everybody knows. It was the premiere of Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live. Anybody know the year? Who knows the year when Saturday Night Live premiered? It was the year before I graduated from high school. I will tell you that. Lauren Michaels once offered the Beatles $3,000 to unite live on the air. 3,000? That doesn't sound like enough even back then. Yeah, Tucker, you are correct. It is 1975. 1975. Saturday Night Live premieres. So they are. Bunch of jokers. Belushi. All right, now we're looking for the game and the company that makes the game. Two paddles, one dot, infinite fun. It was the first commercial video game success. Arcades were born and bars got new corner machines. I remember playing a tabletop version. It was pretty nice, but that was probably later. The graphics were basic, but the obsession was real. This was the pixel that launched a billion-dollar industry. This was the start. Very good. You guys know. Doctor, ma'am, medic. Who knows the year and the company? Which company made Pong? The first Pong machine broke because it was too popular. The coin box overflowed and jammed the system. Yeah. Anybody remember the company that made Pong or the year? Yes, ma'am. And Doctor, you're a little off. It was all the way back in 1972. 1972, Atari releases Pong. All right, now you have to watch my little video because the robots try to play Pong here, and they kind of got it. Sort of. All right. Now what I'm looking for here is a rocker that actually introduces an alter ego. Alien glam rock with lightning bolts and platform boots. He blurred gender lines and redefined stage performance. Yeah, that's who it is. And what was the name of his alter ego? Yes. Yes. Duggar, I like that. I like that better, kind of. I don't know. You are correct. Ziggy was strange, magnetic, and utterly unforgettable. Bowie didn't just play a character, he became one. The glam rock era orbited around him. Well, he started glam rock. There it is. And if you want the official answer, it is David Bowie introduces Ziggy Stardust. Who knows the year? Anybody know the year? Bowie retired Ziggy at its peak, saying it was too dangerous to keep it going. Oh, because he was turning into Ziggy. So he had to stop. He had to stop playing Ziggy because it was too dangerous. 69, that's close. 72. 1972. 1972. All right. Now I'm looking for the rise of something. The rise of something. And this, what the picture is of, helped put the movement on the newsstand. She helped put the movement on the newsstand. So I'm looking for the person also. The person and the movement. Articles tackled real issues. Wages, rights, and reproductive freedom. It showed something wasn't a fringe, it was a force. The cover art and essays challenged norms head on. Pop culture finally said women are watching and writing. The first issue featured Wonder Woman on the cover, reclaimed as an icon. All right, so you've got it, Doctor. Doctor, it is the rise of feminism. And who's the person on the left in that picture? She is the editor for that magazine. That kind of helped, and not Cosmopolitan. That's a good guess, but Cosmopolitan kind of followed this magazine. It's right there on the wall. Yeah, Gloria Steinem is correct, Doctor. It is Gloria Steinem, and the magazine was Ms. Magazine. That started the whole term Ms, didn't it? I think that's what started it. Yeah, there you go. All right, so we're looking for the roots of something. The roots of something, and the band that helped start the root. Fast, loud, and no solos allowed. These guys played 3 chords like they meant it. Pogo dancing and safety pins became fashion statements. It wasn't pretty, but it was pure. Forget the rules. Just start a band. So yes, Doctor, it is the Ramones. And are we talking about? The roots of what? The roots of something. Their debut album was recorded in under a week for just $6,400. I just met a nurse that gabba gabba hey, gabba gabba hey. I just met a nurse that I could go for. Something like that. I want to sniff glue. Yeah, the roots of punk rock. The roots of punk rock and the Ramones. I don't know if you can say the Ramones are punk rock. They're kind of a cross between rock and punk rock. But anyway, they're the roots. According to the Robots. Which we always listen to the Robots these days. Because what else are we going to do? What the heck are we going to do? All right, I think you'll know this one. Cultural phenomenon. It was a variety show that adults secretly loved more than kids. So we're looking for the premiere of a show, which is also the premiere of a set of characters. Celebs from Elton John to Steve Martin showed up to play. Puppets made puns and cultural commentary. Kermit, Miss Piggy, and Gonzo. Yes, this is the Muppets, of course, Doctor. You are correct. And so what would be the premiere? That very good. And Doctor, I appreciate getting the guy in the middle. That was good. Jim Henson and the Muppets. And this was, of course, the Muppet Show. The Muppet Show. Did you know they had a show? Maybe you didn't know they had a show. The show was rejected in the US at first. It had to debut in the UK. I don't know where Stewart and King are, but they could have told us that. And then it bounced back as a global hit. The Muppet Show. 1976. 1976. There they are, the Muppets. All right. A featured guest on the show is the next one. And it was, so it's just a movie that is a cultural phenomenon. It flopped on release. And then it rose from the grave wearing stilettos. Let's do the time warp again. Became a nightmare mantra. I'm sorry, a midnight mantra. Audience participation turned screen into spectacle. I'm just a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania. It was camp, chaos, and complete liberation. Yes. Now, did you guys go to see Rocky Horror? Because we've talked about it a few times. It's made a few categories on here. It's the longest running theatrical release in history. Some theaters have shown it weekly for 40 years. Not 40 months, 40 years. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Wow. The original Rocky Horror Picture Show. Yeah. Oh, on LSD. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't on quite that heavy a drug probably, but definitely did smoking a little pot and drinking a little booze. All right, let's do top 10. Top 10. Let's see if you can guess. This is somebody who won a competition and then became a global phenomenon. Devil's lettuce. I know it. I don't smoke marijuana anymore. A certain time in my life, it just stopped doing anything for me. My hormones changed or something. Didn't work for me anymore. That was about when I was like 30 years old. Eurovision became a global stage thanks to them. So they kind of kicked off Eurovision. In fact, these guys won Eurovision and they went global. Who is it? Yeah. Can you hum a few bars for me? Waterloo. Waterloo. Wasn't just a song, it was an international arrival. What are some of the other songs? Oh, well, there's the newer ones, right? Something about the Greek thing. Suddenly the world had ABBA fever and no cure. There they are, ABBA. Dancing Queen. Yeah, there you go. Waterloo. All right, number 9. This is a movie it was a cultural phenomenon. And you know what? It's supposed to be coming back in theaters like next week. Next week, the original. Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, audiences screamed and kept coming back. It was mostly unseen, which made it scarier. The monster. Studios learned to hype summer releases like never before. So this is the movie that started the summer movie phenomena? It was Spielberg, a household name, and he ruined beach vacations. Yeah. Did you know it's coming? I think it's coming back next week, at least in our area. They're going to bring back the original. I'm sure they've AI'd it and, you know, typed up the resolution and all. So it's probably going to be pretty cool. Yeah, ma'am had that first. If I didn't note that, you got it. And anyway, so I'll probably go see it. It was pretty scary, right? Because I grew up at the beach. I was in the water the whole time as a kid. That was scary. All right, this time we want to ride the rise of something. Rise of something. Rise of something. Roller rinks turned into dance clubs with mirror balls. Outfits sparkled, spins got flashy, and funk never stopped. Funky music. It was sweaty, flashy, and fabulously niche. If you could moonwalk and roll, you are a legend. Even Andy Warhol and Cher were spotted. Not the rise of disco. It's the rise of something disco. This is only number 8. Disco, that's got to be like number 1 or something. Yeah, man, there you go. Way to refine that. The rise of roller disco. The rise of roller skates plus disco. The grooviest combo ever. Even Andy Warhol and Cher were spotted roller discoing at Studio 54. Because of course they were. Of course they were. Yeah, that disco may show up still. I mean, we are in the 70s, so we're only on number 7. So number 7 is a convenient number for this one, because 7 is part of the answer. Okay? This is a comedian and something. He said what you weren't supposed to say on stage loudly. His bit became the center of a Supreme Court case. It questioned censorship and cracked open late-night comedy. He was both clown and philosopher. So, Madhu, you almost have it correct there. Like, in some ways, yeah. In some ways, I like your version a little better. It is George Carlin. You are correct. And it is the 7 words, the 7 dirty words. Yeah. Yeah. So, Carlin kind of started the whole counterculture comedy thing, right? Yeah, definitely. George Carlin, 7 dirty words. There you go. That's what we're looking for. Those 7 words are now FCC legends. The case led to the infamous safe harbor hours on TV. Oh, wow. When broadcasters could be a little looser. So they actually set hours where you could go ahead and say those 7 words. Yeah, there you go. All right, now this next one's a gadget. The gadget that was a cultural icon. How about that? What started in semis moved to station wagons. It spawned hit songs, movies, and a whole slang like 10-4. Good buddy. Everyone suddenly needed a handle. Now, I wouldn't have remembered this except for this item, but I think I got one at one time when it was all the craze. Did you, who else got one? Anybody else get one when it was all the craze? I think I did. You listened to the truckers and stuff. CB radio craze. Yeah, Breaker 19. C.W. McCall's song. Now, who remembers the song? I gave you the artist, C.W. McCall, and he had a song called something. It reached #1 on the charts. Breaker, good buddy. Anybody remember the song? It was you'll remember it when I tell you for sure. It reached #1 on the charts. An ode to CB chaos and diesel-powered freedom. Yeah, ma'am. Doctor had it first. A convoy. We got ourselves a convoy. All right, now this is when somebody's solo career begins. Off the Wall blended funk, disco, and soul like magic. The album was called Off the Wall. Critics raved, fans screamed, awards piled up. It set the stage for his 1980s superstardom. He wasn't just the future, he was pop. Yeah, you guys know. Doctor with the famed Dr. Short Answer. And in this case, I think we're going to give it to him because he's well known by that. We'll give you partial credit too, Mandy. Definitely. That cheating doctor. Michael Jackson's solo career breakthrough begins in 1979. Despite its success, Jackson felt it didn't earn him enough respect, so he vowed his next album would change music forever. And look at that kid. Kind of a different look for Michael. Right? Look, check him out. And this is from actual photographs. This is no AI. Yeah. Off the Wall. There you go. Sendra's got the you got the vinyl? You got the vinyl or the CD? All right. Number 4. Now we're looking for the birth of something. The birth of a musical movement. Okay, I'm going to give you that. And bonus credit if you can name the location, because it's kind of part of lore, music lore, this location. A Bronx party, a DJ, and a beat that never stopped. DJ Kool Herc, am I saying that right? Herc extended break beats and made the crowd move. It wasn't just music, it was a movement. MCs, breakdancers, and graffiti artists followed. This movement's seed was planted and grew globally fast. So yeah, you guys got it real fast. Menu? Duggar? So it is Bronx. Does anybody remember the... So what's interesting is the actual address is part of the lore. Does anybody know the actual address where it started? There's a building where they used to get together in this basement club. The building is now recognized as a historic hip-hop landmark, proof that even parties can make history. So yeah, I guess you had to be there. 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. Learn something every day on Dave's After Dark. All right, top 3 cultural touchstones of the 1970s. Most impactful cultural event. A galaxy far, far away took over this one. Lightsabers, Wookiees, and the Force became everyday vocabulary. George Lucas used samurai films, space opera, and mythic arts. It launched the era of the mega franchise. This is the beginning. This is the beginning. Movie-going was never the same again. Yes, of course. Who knows the year of the first Star Wars premiere? Star Wars premiere is, of course, the correct answer. Merchandising rights were considered worthless until they made Lucas richer than the studios. So, when they looked at the contract, they said, merchandising rights, we don't care. He kissed his sister. I know, there is that. There is that. 77 is correct, ma'am. Just the facts, ma'am. Only the facts. Anybody remember that show? That was from the 60s. Just the facts. Jack Webb. Yeah. All right, top two. And so this one, I'm looking for the music movement and a particular club. Glitter bass lines and velvet ropes ruled the night. Donna Summer and the Bee Gees and Chic ruled the airwaves. This movement infiltrated fashion, film, and even fast food ads. The beat was nonstop until the backlash hit. This movement definitely came to an end, didn't it? This club once had a horse on the dance floor. And someone literally skied into the club once. Yes, okay. We have all the answers on the board. Let's try to sort it out here. Madhu had the disco. Doctor has the Saturday Night Fever. Who's the actor there? Who's the dancing fool? And Madhu also had the Studio 54. And Sandra has the complete answer, Disco Studio 54. So, it's a solid team. Solid team. Very good. And it is Travolta, Mr. John Travolta. I had a buddy who was really into disco. Still a good friend. And his name was Vic. So we used to call him Vic Revolta. Vic Revolta. Because he was so into disco. All right. So this one's interesting. So I'm looking for the birth of a modern movement. I don't know how to describe this. You're just going to have to guess. Gossip, not glossy, and suddenly felt like journalism. This magazine brought stars' private lives to checkout aisle. So it's about a magazine. Profiles were personal, not just promotional. It created fame out of relatability and visibility. Stardom became a 24/7 business. Okay, so People Magazine is part of the answer for sure. So what did People Magazine represent when it became so popular? What part of culture did it bastardize? And who was the first ever sexiest man alive? Does anybody know? Sexiest man alive. It's not the guy in the picture. This is actually Mark Spitz. And it was his wedding that they were covering in this picture. But so People Magazine, and it's the birth of modern celebrity and tabloid culture. How about that? How's that for a tough last one? Oh, does anybody know the first sexiest man alive? Not Burt Reynolds. Good guess though. He was in the Play Girl magazine. He was the first centerfold for Play Girl magazine, but he was not People magazine's first sexiest man alive. Who I guess, I mean, is that a big thing every year? Hey, Alex, what's going on, man? Well, certainly happy birthday. We're gonna have to have a birthday party now. We're gonna have to sing a song or something. Yeah, yeah. Gossip magazine, right? Vladimir Lenin, correct. Oh no, no, incorrect. That was a different category a couple weeks ago. Anyway, so nobody wants to do the sexiest man alive thing, huh? Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you, it was Richard Gere. Richard Gere. How about that? And does anybody know the biggest selling issue ever from People magazine? Anybody know that? I bet nobody knows. I need to be big on the screen here, don't I? Here. There. Now I'm really big. Is that scary? Okay. We'll go back small again. Yeah, you're right. Princess Di's death. That's correct. Most biggest selling thing ever. No doubt. Let's see, what do I got here for you? I got something. I got Wednesday night show. Oh, I need to hide myself again. Can you see that? Wednesday night show is top John Wayne movies, top celebrity chefs, and Hollywood's tragedies. Okay, so we have three categories for Wednesday night show there. And what else is going on, everybody? Besides, it's Alex's birthday, so let's all say happy birthday once again. There we go. A little late, Alex. Were you drinking vodka? Gotta love that Russian vodka. Woo, good stuff. All right, so I've got a compilation video to close us out tonight. If you haven't seen my little, I have a little short that you guys will want to check out. It's my avatar dancing to black and pink K-pop trending music as the MC for this show. So if you haven't seen that yet, check out that short. You might like it. You might not. Anyway, yeah, alcohol is yeah, it's evil. Not like the LSD though. All right, I'm gonna throw up the compilation video to march us on out of here. So you guys all take it easy, and I hope to see some of you next time, even though, I might have chased everybody away tonight. We'll see.
she struts alone. This bar's the place I call my home. I sip this swallow pride, pretend the moonlight lights by my side. Tell me, was it ever real, or just a song you used to feel? I still burn. I still ache. I still whisper your name when I break. In this velvet room where memories bloom, I still wait for a shadow to take shape.